Welcome you. Let's get straight into it. Today's deep dive takes us inside the sporting goods industry as it gears up for 2025. Our roadmap is the Sporting Goods 2025 report, the fifth annual collaboration between the World Federation of the Sporting Goods Industry, WFSGI, basically the global voice for the sector,
Right, the big one.
and McKinsey & Company.
And what immediately jumped out at me, is this core message.
Yeah.
The industry's walking a bit of a tightrope.
A new balancing act, they call it.
Exactly. They're dealing with economic uncertainty, some tricky geopolitical stuff, and consumers who just keep changing their habits. It feels like change is the only constant, really.
Absolutely. And for you listening, understanding this balancing act is what this deep dive is all about. We're not just, throwing data points around.
Well, no.
Our mission is to pull out the really critical insights, the big opportunities, the potential roadblocks, all from this report for 2025. We want to give you a clear, sharp picture of what actually matters.
And if we look at the big picture for you, there are definitely some key themes that pop out as we unpack this. We'll explore how the industry is, chasing growth, while also needing to rethink how they fundamentally operate their whole value chain.
Okay.
We'll also look at this huge, often overlooked opportunity, tackling physical inactivity. It's surprisingly big.
Right.
Then there's how the active lifestyle is becoming core to people's identity now. Plus, the big shifts in market share, some real power plays happening. And finally, this exciting boom in live sports and how it's blurring lines with entertainment.
Okay, so let's dive into that first big piece. Chasing that elusive growth and this need to rethink the value chain.
Yeah.
The report says that after some pretty good years, maybe 7% annual growth from 2021 to 2024.
Which felt strong.
Yeah, the forecast for the next few years, 24 to 29, is a bit softer, around 6%.
Yeah.
And seeing slower growth in key places like Asia-Pacific, Western Europe, Latin America. So for you listening, what does that slight dip really mean in practical terms?
That's the key question, isn't it? This slight slowdown suggests the days of just, easy expansion are probably over. Companies will have to work harder for growth. Maybe more focused marketing, targeting specific groups, could mean better value for you in some areas as brands fight harder.
Right.
And at the same time, there's this huge push on productivity. It's not just selling more, it's operating smarter, especially with consumers maybe being a bit more cautious because of inflation.
That inflation concern is real. The report says 2 out of 3 execs are worried about its lasting impact.
Yeah, it's definitely weighing on minds.
And it's not just about money, is it? A huge number, 84% of executives, are worried about the geopolitical situation. Potential tariffs in 2025. That's a major concern rippling through everything.
Oh, absolutely.
So how does that worry translate to, what you see on the shelf?
Well, that uncertainty really forces companies to look hard at their supply chains. The report suggests, speding up diversification, reducing risk.
So finding new places to make things.
Exactly. Exploring new sourcing locations, maybe adjusting inventory, investing in automation, digital tools, anything to make operations leaner and more resilient if things get disrupted.
Now, here's something that caught my eye. Sustainability. It seems like maybe it's taken a bit of a backseat for some.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Only half of execs called it a top priority for 2025, down from 2/3. And nearly half are focused elsewhere. What do you make of that?
It's complex. The dip might seem concerning environmentally, but it probably reflects those immediate pressures, the economy, the geopolitics we just talked about.
Right, the urgent stuff.
Yeah, and interestingly, the report also notes only about 1 in 3 EU consumers really pay attention to sustainability for sporting goods purchases anyway, so maybe a bit of a disconnect there.
But it's not like they're abandoning it completely.
No, definitely not. The report does show that 52% still have firm net zero targets. Another 22% are planning them.
And they're looking at sustainable design, sourcing, manufacturing.
Exactly. Those are the main levers: product design and sourcing at 70%, manufacturing at 60%. So the long-term goals seem to be sticking around, even if the immediate focus has shifted a bit.
The report brings in some voices from the ground, too. Jack Daly from TRX.
Yeah, his take was interesting. He mentioned 2024 was tough for growth, post-COVID shifts, the economy.
Right.
But he pointed to TRX making strategic moves, like acquiring Bell, doing brand events.
And really focusing on their supply chain as a strength, using those world-class facilities. Sounds like that's paying off.
It seems so, yeah, making it a competitive advantage. Then there's Charles Yang from Vitry Group, a big shoemaker.
The insights were fascinating.
Weren't they? They saw a surprise demand surge in 2024 after a dip, but he also flagged, intensifying competition and maybe even an oversupply of manufacturing capacity in places like Vietnam.
Interesting dynamic. More competition could mean better prices eventually for us.
Potentially, yeah. And Victory Group's response: focusing on productivity, quality, diversifying to Indonesia, automation, lean manufacturing, basically getting really efficient to handle those supply chain complexities.
Sound like they're really preparing for anything.
Yang also brought up ESG, environmental, social governance, and how complex it is in that fragmented manufacturing world.
Right, it's not simple.
No. He stressed needing more cooperation, shared data platforms, mentioned the Made to be Remade initiative, driving recyclability. It shows how interconnected all these challenges really are.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? An industry juggling growth, efficiency, sustainability, all in a world that feels, well, pretty unpredictable.
Which leads us perfectly into the next big theme, and this one holds huge potential. Physical inactivity is like the biggest untapped market out there.
The numbers are pretty stark, aren't they?
They are alarming. Global inactivity in adults jumped from 26% in 2010 up to 31% in 2022.
Wow.
And projected to hit 35% by 2030. That's a massive trend, thinking about the future.
And not just adults. 81% of young people aren't active enough. That's huge. You have to worry about the long-term health impact. And economic, too.
And just think about the sheer scale of this untapped market for you, the listener. 1.8 billion adults worldwide aren't meeting WHO recommendations.
1.8 billion.
Yeah, that's like twice the adult population of India. Imagine the benefits if even a fraction became more active. Health-wise, maybe 500 million fewer preventable conditions, $300 billion in healthcare savings.
Huge numbers.
Plus boosting productivity, even sustainability through things like cycling or walking more.
The report also breaks it down, right? Women more inactive than men, highest levels in Eastern Mediterranean, Southeast Asia.
And it rises with age, which makes those low youth levels even more concerning for the future. Knowing these details could help target efforts more effectively.
So how can brands actually tap into this? What can they do?
Well, the report outlines a few key ways. One is innovation designing products that remove barriers, like Adidas's Stay and Play line for periods or Nike's Modest Wear, making it easier, more comfortable for everyone.
That makes sense. What else?
Big awareness campaigns. Marketing that's inclusive highlights all the different benefits of moving. Think New Balance's Run Your Way, which grew their Instagram hugely, or ASICS's Desk Break campaign got over 50 million views. Just shifting perception.
Getting people moving in their daily life.
Exactly. And maybe the most critical piece of engaging youth. Adidas's Breaking Barriers Academy, Nike Dove's Body Confidence Sport for Girls, Speedo's Swim United teaching swimming, Shimano's school bike clubs, all trying to build those healthy habits early.
It's good to see the industry working together on this, too. That joint statement calling for action sounds significant.
It really does. It shows a collective will. And Charles Yang from Victory Group, he basically said the whole market could shrink if younger generations don't get active.
Wow, so it's fundamental.
It really is. Not just potential customers, but the future health of the industry.
And Celine Delgens from Decathlon mentioned it's key to their strategy, too, with Ready to Play, making sports less scary, more about joy.
Yeah, focusing on accessibility, the fun of it, it signals a potential shift, maybe, in how brands talk about fitness, less elite performance, more well-being for everyone.
Okay, so that leads into the third theme, the active lifestyle as identity.
Precisely. And there's this growing split, isn't there? The inactive and the active seem to be drifting further apart.
Yeah, the report says a third of active people exercise more now than a year ago. So a real deepening commitment for some.
It really feels like for many, fitness isn't just something they do, it's part of who they are. Almost half of active consumers, and especially Gen Z and millennials, like 60% see fitness as core to their identity, using exercise to boost self-image even.
That's a powerful driver.
And we're seeing more super active people, about 1 in 4 active folks exercising 6 or 7 times a week.
Wow.
Nearly 60%, at least 3 times a week, often with strict schedules. So a very engaged group.
And what's pushing this? Health, longevity, fitness goals, but also mental well-being, stress relief. It's holistic.
Totally. And you see it in clothes, right? Sportswear as daily wear. It's growing faster than regular fashion.
You definitely see it everywhere. Athleisure is huge.
The report projects sportswear outpacing fashion by 2–3% in the US, even more in China. And 2/3 of millennials Gen Z wear athleisure multiple times a week, It's just normal now.
So for brands, this is a chance to connect on a deeper level.
Absolutely. If they understand those emotional, functional needs tied to identity, they can really tailor products and marketing, aligning values, building community. That's key.
And using those super active people as ambassadors.
Yeah, the report suggests leveraging them. Their passion is infectious, through targeted campaigns, community building.
Rachel Aitchison from Lululemon had a great point that an active lifestyle is maybe the new status symbol.
Yeah, more important than traditional ones for many. She talked about Lululemon focusing on growth and profit, driven by innovation and that emotional connection helping people feel their best.
Interesting she mentioned GLP-1s too, but Lululemon's still focused on broader well-being, physical, emotional, social.
Right. Suggests they believe in the whole package, not just weight.
And Jack Daly from TRX agreed, right? Trogan. Seeing more people globally, all ages, view fitness as part of their identity, driven by awareness, social media, podcasts.
Exactly. It just underlines this big shift in how people see themselves and activity.
Okay, theme number 4, market share upheaval. The big guys being challenged.
Yeah, this is a really dynamic space right now. You've got the big incumbents like Adidas, Nike, and then these challenger brands really making waves.
And gaining ground.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Challengers outpaced incumbents in revenue growth and grabbed about 3 percentage points of market share between 2019 and 2024. That's significant.
So what's their playbook? How are they doing it?
Several things. Often a sharper focus, a clear niche, like Lululemon, starting with yoga, Arc'teryx with high-end outdoor gear.
Right. Really specific.
Visible innovation, too. Things you can see and feel, like Hoka's big midsoles or On's Cloud Tech pods.
And that cultural marketing piece seems important, too.
Huge. Alo Yoga, New Balance using celebs effectively. Others like Gymshark, Hoka, Vori building from the ground up with communities. Feels more authentic, maybe.
And they didn't ditch wholesale, did they? While the big guys went direct to consumer.
Exactly. Many challengers worked closely with specialist retailers, built credibility, reached people who still like that in-store advice. Smart move.
Investors are noticing too, right? Share prices up for brands like On, Hoka's parent Deckers, Amir Sports.
Yeah, and big private money flowing in, like that huge investment in Vori, valuing them at over $5 billion. Clear signal of belief in their potential.
So what does the future look like? Standalone brands getting bigger or groups buying up brands?
Probably both. The report suggests 2 paths. Successful brands like Lululemon or On, expanding carefully from their core, and then houses of brands forming through acquisitions using shared resources but keeping brand identity separate.
Samuel Wenger from On chimed in, saying 2024 was surprisingly strong, especially for premium stuff.
Yeah, and he credited Ondan's growth to innovation, design, sustainability, basically chipping away at the incumbent share.
He stressed having that innovative culture, making quick decisions, not just chasing trends.
Right. And he also mentioned that post-COVID health focus and active identity trend, helping them too, fits their brand.
Then you have Nicola Rosen from Colnago, the cycling brand, with a different take.
Yeah, really interesting contrast. His takeaway was the benefit of focusing intensely on their core high-end road bikes, not trying to be everything to everyone, especially when the broader bike market struggled.
And getting back to basics.
Exactly, re-anchor in your expertise. He also talked about consumers looking to brands for community, guidance, maybe filling gaps left by other institutions. So Colnago's strategy is being exclusive, premium, maybe growing through high-end services, online sales of top bikes, lots of R&D for demanding customers, different segment, different strategy.
Fascinating. Okay, final theme. The boom in live sports and that blur with entertainment.
Yeah, this feels really current. We're seeing a big return to in-person fitness. 81% went to classes or workouts.
Wow, 81%.
Yeah, 2.5 times more than primarily online users. People crave that group energy, motivation, connection.
You can feel it. And spending more on boutique studios, clubs.
Definitely. And this desire for live experiences goes way beyond fitness. The whole live event ticket market is huge, over $100 billion in 2023, heading towards $150 billion.
And sports are a big chunk of that.
Roughly half, yeah. Even traditional sports are seeing attendance bounce back. UEFA reported a 7% jump in European football attendance. People want to be there.
And venues are changing too, blending sports, retail, entertainment.
Totally. Stadiums becoming year-round destinations like Tottenham's.
Yep.
Or redevelopments like Tokyo's Fish Market getting arenas. It's about creating an experience hub.
We're also seeing new sports formats pop up that are heavy on entertainment.
Like Kings League in Spain, Baller League in Germany, getting big viewership by being more dynamic, engaging. Even Adidas got involved early.
And entertainment content about sports, like Drive to Survive.
Huge impact. Made F1 way more popular, especially with new audiences. It's about storytelling, capturing attention beyond the actual event.
So how do sporting goods brands ride this wave?
Well, blending physical and digital is key. Maybe VR for digital fans, leveraging communities and live events like On's Run Clubs or Nike Studios.
Making retail more of an experience, too.
Definitely. Stores becoming event hubs, workshop spaces. Adidas saw a 50% loyalty boost from community events. That's powerful.
Jack Daly from TRX expects people will still want in-person workouts, even if digital stays relevant.
Yeah, finding that hybrid balance.
And Celine Deljanes from Decathlon noted the success of big events like the Olympics, but also the growing impact of climate change on the industry.
A really important point. Decathlon's focusing on modernizing the experience everywhere, tailoring brands like Van Rysel for specialists, but keeping accessible options, and pushing hard on sustainability, circularity.
Right, rentals, repairs.
And they're ready to play. Initiative keeps going, making sport accessible, supporting new sports, community events like Vital Sport. It all points to this future where activity, entertainment, community just merge together.
So wrapping it all up for you, our listener, we've looked at the industry's balancing act, growth versus efficiency, in this unpredictable world.
We've highlighted that massive opportunity in tackling inactivity.
Examined the power of the active lifestyle as identity.
Explored those big market share shifts, the challenger dynamic.
And looked at the exciting convergence of live sports and entertainment.
These are really the crucial things to grasp, aren't they? Navigating all this, turning the uncertainty into opportunity. That's the name of the game for 2025 and beyond.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you. Considering all these trends, what do you think is the single biggest potential disruption, or maybe the biggest innovation, that could really reshape sporting goods in the next 5 years? And maybe more personally, how might your own relationship with sport and wellness change because of all this? Definitely some food for thought there.
Absolutely. And if you want to dive even deeper into the numbers and analysis, the full Sporting Goods 2025 report from WFSGI and McKinsey is definitely worth checking out.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.